but this is just for the YouTube channel. So today we have on the mic, we got introduce yourself.
Dion's. My name Dion.
Okay, Dion.
DJ Stewart.
All right, DJ Stewart. And we have a lady who normally is a part of our podcast, but she has to leave early, Miss Keisha over there. So today we are talking about idols and images. Idols and images. All right, so what is an idol? What is an idol?
Something that you look up to.
Something that you look up
It
to?
could be something that you look up to. Too much.
Something or someone that you invest a lot of attention to. Yeah, that's not attention. Or put a lot of attention to. Or something that has a certain kind of control.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Something that has a lot of control over you. Something that you what did you say? Say it again. I want to say it like, yeah, say it in the mic.
It has a lot of control over you.
Something that has a lot of control over you, something that requires a lot of your attention. Okay. I can see that. DJ, you got a definition, or you gonna leave it at that?
My definition is similar to hers.
Okay, so where the backdrop for this is 1 Corinthians chapter 10. So it's almost impossible to go verse by verse. I don't really want to read the whole chapter, but I'll just read. I'll just say whoever has that version, who had the version of the reading that I like all the time. Is that you or is that DJ?
At the NIRV. I got NLT.
Okay. Well, if we think what an idol is, right? What is an image? Is an image and an idol the same thing? Similar, different?
I don't think it's the same thing.
Okay, so what is an image?
It could relate, but an image is a picture of something. I mean, like, my answer would be, by definition, those two are separate,
Okay.
Like an image is basically a representation of something, but an idol is something that you worship per se.
Okay. That's okay. All right. I would definitely describe an idol as a okay. I would definitely describe an idol as a thing like a thing that you objectify. And I would definitely describe an image as a thing that you objectify also, but I want to take it a step further to like images, what you present yourself to be as opposed to what you actually are. So I want to say image in a lot of different figurative ways. Image could be something that you hold in your mind that's not true. Image could be your idea or picture of a thing that's false. Or you representing yourself as something that you're actually not. Like you're presenting an image. You get what I'm saying? So when I say that, what are your idols and images? Right. Yeah. So she said that an idol is something that's already there, and the image would be your mental picture or mental representation of something. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. What's wrong with an idol? I mean, of course, the Bible say, I don't worship no other thing before me. But what's so bad or what's so wrong with that, in your opinion?
Idol, it could take over you, like it could be your whole identity. Like something else could be your whole identity just off you worshiping that one thing.
Yeah.
Like it could be like it could take over you. Yeah. Like you're not supposed to look up to other stuff other than God.
Yes, I can agree too. Just to elaborate, when I was have this, we build this dependency.
Right.
So a lot of times where our attention and our hundred should go to God, we're going to other people or this thing. But for me, it was a sport where you just so invested where you can't even function outside of whatever that idol is.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when it was right because we're so
focused.
Yeah, it's whatever the idol
Yeah. Okay. 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 Nicely put. Nicely put. I could say I feel the same way. Go ahead. Go ahead, DJ. Okay. So what are some things that are idols in our world today? Not just my age, because I can tell you a lot of the idols that my generation was. What are some idols in the generation in today's society? What are some idols?
Phones,
Phones,
celebrities,
celebrities. Would a celebrity be an idol or image or both?
idol.
I say both.
Also, to anything with material, because people look for status and power. Material in today's age gives so much leeway to this particular.
Yeah, yeah. I feel you.
Yeah, I say the biggest idol, most broadly, is like she said, status and power,
Hmm.
and you know, having those things, influence and stuff like that. But it could also be like money, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
That could be it. That could be an idol.
Yeah, basically like material stuff, money, status, power, fame. Oh, that can be an idol. Yeah, a person who you want to be close to. Yeah, that could definitely be an idol. A person can be an idol. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because that takes the conversation to another place. A person can be an idol in your life. A friend, you said a friend. I want to say a boyfriend or a girlfriend, even, can really be an idol in your life. What makes that person become an idol? Like for me, I think what makes a something like that for a person, you are willing to compromise your higher self or like what you know is right to appease that person. um what are y'all thoughts on that?
Like what makes a person become an idol?
Yes.
I think is when you abandon it's when you abandon yourself to pursue something
Mm.
that makes it an idol. Like when you abandon yourself.
Trying to obtain whatever it is from them or just be with them.
Right.
All your just
Just drop, yeah, just go away. Yeah.
outside of God, all because I'm making you idol. So
Yeah. Yeah, I want to agree with you on that. I want to say I completely agree with you on that. Like it's like your moral compass just goes out the window, and you want so bad to please this person that you lose track of what it is, who it is that you're trying to really be. Like what I'm saying, for your own personal sake, and it's possible to lose yourself trying to chase or appease or find somebody else. I think one of the reasons why I brought this up in conversation, because I think we have subtle idols and we don't realize that things are actually idols in our lives until we get to a place where this desire for this thing or for this person pulls you so far away from who you wanted to be or the direction that you wanted your life to go that you realize, dang, what have I been allowing to steer me or detour me or whatever? What about some subtle idols? Envy, like envy, like wanting something else that someone has, and so now you turn like I see somebody else with a girlfriend, now I want a girlfriend. I see somebody else with that, now I want what they have. You get what I'm saying? Would y'all consider that as an idol?
I would not.
Okay,
I see it. Yeah, I would consider that maybe as an image, because you seeing something, but you're not seeing the other part to it. You know.
absolutely right. That's why I said it. I would consider that as an image also. You're desirous of something else that you like. It's like you've created this thing in your mind. Man, if I had that, I would do this. Or man, if I had, I need to get me a girl. I need to get me a this. I need to get me a that. Well, yeah, that's why I wanted to point that out. That's why I wanted to point that out. Like another subtle image that we don't consider as an image is sex. That's what we talked about last week. I see an idol or image as anything that you make detours or concessions for, especially to the extent of compromising your higher self for that. So I see an idol as something that's not productive or against God, or something that completely detours you away from God, but you willingly choose to submit yourself to it. So I see an idol like that. So I see sex as an idol. What do y'all think?
I agree, and because So common society is not film plus.
Mhm.
You are already
Yeah, I want to say, yeah, I want to say I agree with that also. I definitely do agree with that. I definitely do agree with that. Anybody else?
I don't I wouldn't classify those things as idols
Okay, why not?
because those things, those kind of things fall into the category of desire. The way that I see an idol is like is more extreme than that. So like for example, if somebody is obsessive over a certain celebrity and you go into their room and they got pictures of this one celebrity, they got body pillows and like, you know what I'm saying, cardboard cutouts.
Okay.
I feel like that then would be that person would then become an idol for that person because that's all they live for. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's
Right.
how they live for.
Right.
That person, that like you're idolizing this person.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I like that. I'm gonna come back to that. Got nothing? Go ahead.
looking to be because I don't know. It's going to get up ahead.
I would say by that same definition, you said that's what like this person becomes what the what did you say? How did you put that?
It's basically like it becomes their reason for living, you know.
Right. Right. So with that same thing, that's why I say sex could be an idol.
It could be, yeah.
Because some people, that's their reason, that's their whole existence. Or like food can be an idol, but that's an exterior thing. But I'm saying gluttony can be an idol. I'm saying these immaterial things that you don't realize can't. That's why we having the conversation, because that is very valid. You wouldn't think of a feeling or desire as an idol, but it could definitely be or become that, right? If that's all you live for, that's all that's all you chasing, or that's what you made your life be of. And it could be, do you think your feelings and your emotions can be an idol?
Emotions and feelings, if you follow them, yeah, it could be because your feelings is not always right. So
You think it's possible to worship how you feel?
yes, it's just like you said, liking somebody, like boyfriend and girlfriend. Is that not? Then you say that's an idol.
Could be.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't want to like feel like I'm going too abstract, but maybe like if how you feel makes you like you should get your way. That's definitely
All right.
manipulation or what the results are. How the age continue to.
Yes, yes, I definitely, that is the whole entire thing. If you're used to getting a certain response, or if you're used to, okay, I can make this person do what I want them to do by pulling the strings, but it's an inner desire to manipulate. I want to be in control, and so I see that you're not doing what I want you to do. So now I would say that that's taking it far, but I get the gist of what you're saying, and that is exactly what I'm saying. Anytime anything is more, it's like you fall at the feet of it, that it becomes an idol. Anytime like you become a slave to it, it becomes an idol. One of the you should say something. Yeah, you're right. You can't help but to just submit yourself to it. It becomes out. That's what he says in there. I'm free to do everything, but I'm not free to become a slave to anything. And that's what he's talking about in that First Corinthians. We didn't really go to specific scriptures, but that's why I called it out so you guys could read it. But I wanted to point out how many things that could actually become idols in our hearts. Like one of the things that he talks about, and I'm not going to really just go deep, but like the systems that we have in our churches. Now, he don't specifically say that, but he talks about this brazen serpent, and the brazen serpent was their way to be healed from a snake that bit them in the wilderness. But what he was highlighting was they turned something that God intended to be used for their healing into their God. And so I say, like a lot of church systems that we have, something that was intended to be one thing, we turned the tradition into our God and not the actual means of connecting to God, our God. You get what I'm saying? Okay, you was talking about the same thing the other day.
I do agree that, especially I don't want to bring the whole other thing up, but a lot of us as Black folks, we are so caught up with how church is raised, everything we grew up, this and that, this and that.
Right.
It takes away from the actual mission of supposed to deal with God.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with being, so down for your worship and all that. But is that like what you look up to, or is it God Almighty Himself that is supposed to be God?
Right. Absolutely right. So I'm glad that you brought that up. And where I'm gonna take that is, again, it's all pointing to things that can become an idol that you don't realize. Okay, we talked about idols, we talked about images. Do you think that you can become your own idol?
Yeah.
How? Why? How? What does that mean
If
to
you
you?
look too much into yourself, like how
That's me.
Lucifer,
That's a call. Okay.
he got too and like he liked himself too much. Like he found himself perfect. He was made perfect, so he got ahead of himself, and he became his own idol, and that's why he the devil right now.
Okay. Yeah. DJ, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you can become your own idol.
How?
You can want, like, you can want to, you know, you want things for yourself at the expense of others, and you want things, you want things for yourself no matter what it costs.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when I think of that, I think of like when Jesus say, what I'm saying, you gotta hate your life to be
Right.
yeah. So like he knew that you could idolize yourself
Yeah.
because we love our lives,
Yeah.
But he said you gotta love God more than your life because yourself can be an idol.
I love that, man. That's spot on. Cause like, most people, when I have a conversation about that, they bring that up. Like, God don't even want you to like yourself. And that's not the essence of what it's saying there. When you say hate your life, you have to hate your life. I mean, you have to lose your life in order to save it. It's saying you shouldn't love yourself so much that, and I like another thing that you said, that you put yourself at the expense of somebody else. So it's okay to have my ambitions. It's okay to have my desires. It's okay. But if I have to get it at the expense of, I got to cut you down for me to stand up, or I got to belittle you to make myself look bigger, that's when you teetering on the brink of self-worship, idolatry. Or it sound like you felt like you want to say something.
Yes, I was going to say too. I think just people's absence of just connection with God, they put themselves as God. And not to bring anybody down, but I've actually witnessed an athlete, a fellow athlete that I know. He pretty much credited himself for waking up and putting in the hours, which we do.
Yeah.
God does give us effort and free will.
The discipline, yeah.
It's God opening doors, giving us the help to do that. So I do think that when we subtract God and just, especially those who are so used to performing or excel at a certain level, that again they subtract God and kind of see themselves as, I did this, I did that, so it's me. So,
yeah. Okay. So what then? What is the line? Because like me, I'm disciplined, and I do believe like God could give you a gift, but if you don't practice it, you ain't gonna be as good as somebody else that do practice. So at what is the line then? Where do I draw the line? Whereas I say I know that it's me, but at the same time I know that it's God too. Like, you get what I'm saying? Do you understand the question? Where is the line drawn? Like where do you differentiate that?
I think that it's easier to see the line the more humble you are. It comes with humility, man. Like you can be good at certain things, you know what I'm saying? And some things could be credited towards you, but the more humble you are, the more you realize how short you fall, how short you actually fall. You know what I'm saying? So like it comes with humility. You got to practice humility to see that line. If you not as humble, you're gonna see yourself as higher than you are.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling with idolatry in yourself, that's probably the reason, in my opinion. Gotta practice humility.
Practice humility. You got anything? Yeah, I would say I always, where I have found to draw the line at is to always not just assert myself, but I know that it's me and God. That there are some things that I can do, but then there are other things that God makes happen that I can't. Like, I can't do certain things. I can't get the opportunity. I can just prepare myself for it. You know, I can't make people choose me. I can only make myself a good candidate. And then I do my part, but then I still have to trust God to do whatever it is. And then, like, I draw the line to, it's probably a long response to that, but I draw the line where I can always say, this is what I wanted, but if God didn't give it to me the way I thought that I should get it, then I'm always humbling myself, as you said, to say, all right, God, well, which direction would you be having me to go with this? Or how should I be seeing this? If your answer is no, even though you know I want this, then I can question as to why, or I can say, let me just redirect. That's me always humbling myself to see and understand, like, just because I want it doesn't mean I need to have it right now. And that's really hard to say. What do you think of? I think I'm saying that's one of the ways that I make sure I don't become an idol to myself. But what are y'all thoughts about that? That's really hard to say. Like, I want this, I know I want it, but God says no. Like, how do y'all, what are y'all thoughts on that? That's hard, man. That's a hard thing.
It is hard when you want something that you can't have, but just know God got something better for you. That's what I think. When I want something and I can't get it, I say God got something better for me, or there's something better for me than what I want.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have no thoughts on it. I just agree. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you want something and then God says no. I think that's one of the ways that God does keep you from idolizing yourself, by letting you know that everything that you want does not mean that you're supposed to have it just because you want it, or just because you have a desire for it doesn't mean that you're supposed to have it just because you want it. I get into a lot of conversations with people because of that. Why would God not let me have it if he knows that I really want it? I think that's one of the ways he helps you to stay humble. All right. So on the sideline, Keisha got to go. So it's okay. It's okay. The lady in our audience, she has to leave. But thank you so much for joining in the conversation as much as you did. Is Babe back there? Okay, so what we were talking about idolizing self, and where do you draw the line in idolizing self, and how do you know that you haven't started? That wasn't all of the questions, but we were talking about the idols and idolizing self. And so when Paul says this, I'm free to do anything, but I'm not free to become a slave to anything as a Christian. What does that mean in your opinion?
You have the choice. You have the choice to go after what you want. Like free will. You have free will. He has the freedom to be a slave to whatever it is, but he chooses not to go after that. That's what I get from it.
Okay.
I get that. He basically saying, like, you can do what you want to do, but it becomes bad when you lose control over yourself when you're doing these things.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. You're right. You got the freedom to choose whatever you want to choose, but you don't have the freedom to become a slave to anything, but because becoming a slave to something makes it become your idol. So, for example, what can I use? Like food. That's probably the easiest thing. I'm free to eat anything, but I'm not free to become a slave to my appetite.
Like overeat.
Right. I'm free to eat anything, but I'm not free to become a slave to my desires or what I want. And I'm glad that he brings that up even in that, because I think we don't recognize that we need to have limitations and boundaries in our lives as a Christian, not just for the sake of living a life with limitations and boundaries, but for the sake of not losing yourself in something. Do you think drugs can become an idol?
Yeah, I think so.
And you say that because obviously we've been talking about it, but I just want you to put it on.
If you do it too much, it could take over you. It could be the only thing you think about.
Only thing you live for.
You look forward to, yeah. You look forward to. You need to eat, sleep, drink. Some people only chase that. Some people only use that. I think it could be.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. You have anything you want to add to that, DJ?
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of in the middle part right now because
oh, that's you.
I can see how, like, it can become an idol, but I don't see the drugs as an idol. I would see like the image of what I'm saying, the lifestyle of drugs. I can
Mhm.
see that being an idol, but drugs itself, I don't see that being an idol. Like I see it as addiction. But
Mhm.
I wouldn't define it as an idol. I think more so my definition ties into like, what I'm saying, a version of something like for example, like the rap game. A lot of people
Mhm.
want to be in the rap game because they want the money, they want the chains, they want the lifestyle. And the drugs will fit into that because like people will want the lifestyle of drugs, like what I'm saying, like the fun of it,
Mhm.
the friends or whatever, the connections or whatever, however people might idolize like
Yeah.
drugs. I feel like that can be considered an idol, but like I don't feel like drugs would be an idol.
I get what you're saying. Like drugs in and of itself is not the idol,
Yeah,
but the addiction to
yeah.
it is what
It's
makes it become an
the
idol.
Right.
connection
That's
to
good.
it.
Basically, yeah, yeah. Like if you need it to function, like if you need to function, like yeah, it's an idol. I think so. Or it could become an idol, like you saying.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that too. I agree with that too. It's just like when the Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil, and most people say that the love of that money is the root of all evil, but money in and of itself is not evil. Your attachment to it is what makes it evil, and so that's what you're saying about drugs. The
Yeah,
drug itself is not
yeah,
necessarily the idol, but your
basically.
attachment to it is what makes it become an idol.
Yeah.
And can I think that's why I think cigarettes fall into that category. What do y'all think about that?
I think so too, because cigarettes is a craving.
Some people can't function without having a cigarette. What?
Yeah, my answer is the same as the last.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, my answer is the same as the last.
Yeah. I put cigarettes up there because even though cigarettes is legal, yeah, even though cigarettes are legal, they can still become an idol in the sense of if you can't function without it. So, like, I share this story. When I used to smoke cigarettes, bro, I couldn't go a day without smoking cigarettes. But I could go a day without studying or reading my Bible. I could go a day without praying. I could go a day without certain things when it had to do with God, but I couldn't go a day without cigarettes. Like the ratio just started. I didn't think of it that way, but when I started thinking of it that way, I started to realize, like, man, this is like actually a problem, you know? Even though like alcohol. Okay, so alcohol, um, we have this debate, we have this conversation about alcohol being a sin. What do y'all think about alcohol drinking? Is that a sin? Is it good? Is it bad? What do you think?
I think if you overindulge in it, it becomes a sin. But I don't think it's a sin, like just to do it. But if it's habitual and you just overindulge every time, I think it is a sin.
Yeah. I think the sin from alcohol is mostly from the lack of control with it.
Yeah, the
I
influence.
think that drinking I think that drinking alcohol in itself is not so much a sin, but I do believe that the way that you drink is the way
Yeah.
that you drink the alcohol is.
Yeah. So same as what you said at first, like your relationship to it is what makes it bad, not necessarily the thing itself. Okay, I can agree with that. I can most definitely I can definitely agree with that. I've definitely been in a lot of heated conversations about the whole alcohol thing, and it's not to justify nobody's actions, right? I'm not telling you go and start drinking, but I think that's one of the things that Paul is saying. I'm free to do anything, but I can't become a slave to anything. So the first miracle that Jesus performed was turning water into wine. So evidently, I'm not gonna say it's right or wrong. I'm just gonna say I don't think that God would Jesus would turn water into wine if God wasn't somewhere like this is not something that I want these people to be engaging in. You get what I'm saying? But I think it becomes a problem, just like what you said, and the same thing with what you said is your relationship to it. If I wake up and I just can't stop drinking, or like every single day I got to have me something to drink, it becomes a problem. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because a lot of times we have these subtleties in our lives that we don't realize or recognize become problems. And a lot of times when I counsel young people and they talk to me about drugs, or when they talk to me about alcohol, I say, I steer them away from it, I guide them away from it, or I counsel them away from it, because with cigarettes, they weren't they didn't take me over the first time I did it. But the more that I did it, it slowly became this thing. And so I try to encourage it, and it was bad. It's bad on multiple levels, because it was destroying my body. My body is the temple, right? What we talked about in the last Bible study. But at the same time, if you become addicted to it, and then that's what I call like worshiping, like bowing at the feet of it. I counsel against it, not for the thing itself, but because of the hold that it develops over you, and you don't realize that it's every time you do it, it's locking you down even tighter and tighter and tighter. You get what I'm saying? What do y'all think about that?
I think that's a true statement. I mean, especially if you could say it for yourself. Like when you first started the cigarette, it wasn't like, oh, this got a hold on me. It was like once you kept doing it, it was like, dang, you realize I'm doing this. I can't go a day without this, but I can go a day without studying and all that. Like you have to realize that.
Yeah, exactly. And so I say that with the same mentality and understanding. So with that, like I always encourage or guide against it, because you don't realize that you can become a slave to it, and not even recognize that you to become a slave to it until you try to go without it, and you realize you can't go without it. And that you have successfully become a slave. Let me go back to this, what you had said earlier. You were talking about the rappers and the lifestyle, right? To me, that falls into images. That falls into the image of what do you think about that? When I say that, what comes to your mind?
I think it's an image too, because they see all this stuff, but they don't really know what's happening. Like they don't know what go on behind closed doors. They don't know how these people act with all these drugs in their system and around all these people. Like they don't really know how it go for real. So I think it is an image, because they see one thing, but they don't see the other side of it.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that.
I think that is both.
Okay,
I think that is both.
explain that answer.
Because that lifestyle is an image, like he said, it is an image, but the image is idolized. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
really good. Yeah.
So I think it's both.
Yeah, I like that. It is an image, so you worship in the image, but then that image becomes idolized.
Exactly.
I love that.
That's why a lot of people want to be rappers.
Yeah,
because they want that image.
Yeah, they want that image. Yes, that is good. That is really good.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah, nicely put. I can definitely agree with that. I like that that you are able to define both of them and then highlight both of them at the same time. And that's why that's another thing that would be so strong. Like you see something and you like, man, I want that. I want the fame. I want the worship. I want to have fun. I want to have a good time. I want to be this icon, this figure that everybody looks up to and blah, blah, blah. Not realizing like, man, this image probably ain't even really the real deal,
I got something to say about that though, but like,
go ahead.
Sometimes though, it gets difficult to find the line between ambition and idolatry. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to find that line. Like it's hard to find the line between ambition and something, because I want wealth.
Yeah.
I want wealth for my family, for my life. And I want it to such a degree that like sometimes I obsess over, what I'm saying, how I can make this work. And sometimes I have to like find that line between, is this ambition or am I idolizing wealth,
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
You got anything you want to say to that? I'll say one of the things that I use, especially that, because I pray for wealth too. But then when Jesus says it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. But he said that in response to a young man who he said, I want to be perfect. Good master, what shall I do to be perfect? And Jesus said, the law, honor the father and mother, don't cheat nobody, don't steal it. These have I kept from my youth up. Then Jesus says, if thou would be perfect, go sell all you have and give it to the poor. I think it's okay to be rich or wealthy if you don't have such an emotional attachment to it that you can't give it to somebody, or that you can't just do something nice for somebody. So I always gauge my ready to have more by how much I'm willing to give it away. And the extent that I can't give it away, then I know it's becoming a problem. So I always try to gauge myself on that. It's the same way I get it, I try to give it. And I believe that God is gonna match my giving. So I give first. I don't give to the extent that it's ridiculous unless God touched my heart to do so. But it's in my budget to give. It's in my budget to give away. It's in my budget to be free with it. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I budget just to give. So I always I try to tailor mine, because that's a very good conversation to have.
Right, right. But I'm not talking about the wealth itself. I'm talking about the desire for the wealth. Like
Right. Okay.
how much you want it and how much you begin to obsess over it. Even if it's like, even if it is for like, for pure motives,
Pure motives. Okay.
the desire for it can be so strong that maybe it could become an idol.
Okay.
That's what I meant when I said that.
Okay. In response to that, I would say, with your desire for it, what would you be willing? What line
Exactly. Like that. That's
do
what
you? What
what I'm
line are you
saying.
willing to cross to get it?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. It's hard to think about it, because when I think about wealth, like, to get that, a lot of people work, a lot of people put a lot of time in.
Yeah.
And like that's a big sacrifice.
Yeah. And then I would say, so like what he says, the love of money is the root of all evil, and that's basically what you're getting at. And I would respond to that by saying, I don't think there's nothing wrong with to desire to have wealth. I don't think it's nothing wrong with it. I think it becomes wrong when you're willing to hurt somebody to get it.
I think so. Like, you know how, like, in the gangster movies, how they all come up, like Snowfall.
Yeah.
I mean, Snowfall.
Yeah.
When they started, they was together, and then like towards the end, like, he got betrayed, he got snaked off because she wanted more money.
Yeah.
So she shunned him off just so she could get more for herself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's when the desire and ambition become. That's me personally. I think when your desire becomes so strong for it that you will cheat somebody to get it,
Yeah.
or you'll pull somebody down to get it, or you'll hurt somebody to get it. Yeah, you probably got a wrong kind of attachment to money. Yeah,
It makes sense. It makes sense. That's a good explanation for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's just my own personal. That may, somebody watching this may be like, man, it ain't. You can't. That's just my own personal. I always ask them questions like that too, because like I want to live right, and I want to be wealthy. I think you can be godly and wealthy at the same time. I think you can be godly and successful at the same time.
Mhm.
But then it forces you to ask those questions, which I think that's good, because somewhere in there you want to be a good person, even if you don't. At least you found somewhere in you to ask the question. All right, so where's that? I know it's a gray area, but it's got to be like somewhere that it's the black and then it's a white on this side, and where do I put myself? So I think that's actually a good thing. I think that's actually a good thing, man. I really do. I think we should ask ourselves these questions, because it's nothing wrong with having that ambition, because that was going to be one of my questions too. Is ambition an idol? And what point does ambition become an idol?
Yeah, I don't think ambition is an idol.
Well, why you say that?
Because ambition is you being led by like some like strong emotions. That's what I think. Like, not, yeah, I think ambition is strong emotions. Like, you being led with strong emotions.
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. So like to say, I'm ambitious to be successful. I'm ambitious to achieve this thing. I'm ambitious to go after this thing to get that. Okay. Yeah, I was going there, and that's why that kind of ties into the same thing what you were saying too, because it's not a problem until you start to, okay, my ambition is to be first in the race today. So let's say I'm an athlete.
Yeah.
My ambition is to be first. I practice, but while I'm running, this dude is going as fast as me. If you trip him to win, your ambition is a problem. Yeah, I get what you. Yeah, that's that. You on the brainwaves. You on the same brainwaves. Yeah. That's good. Look, we had a certain amount of time. We're gonna take 2 minutes out of that. I'm gonna have to edit them 2 minutes out. But yeah, we were basically just talking about idols. We was talking about images, and from the 10th chapter of First Corinthians. But we're gonna stop it right here. It's a short conversation today. Anybody have anything else they want to add, or anybody have anything else that they want to say, or any questions that they want answered, or no? Well, all right. Thank y'all all for watching today. I hope that this conversation helped you. I hope it started the conversation to something else that you can have in your own prayer life, in your own personal walk with God. What are images, or what could be images in your life, or what are some things in your life that you see that you can't go without? Ask yourself those questions, because God is supposed to be first in all of our lives. And that's not to say everybody is perfect, but God is supposed to be first. And if you're not seeking his righteousness first, it's a good chance that you're probably leaning into or leaning towards, not all the way in, but leaning towards idolatry. And so ask yourself the question in your own walk with God, in your own personal faith, as to who comes first in your life. And so, guys, that's all I have. I'm gonna say a prayer, and then we're gonna go offline, because I don't want this thing to cut off. But I'm going to pray really quick, and then we're going to go offline. God, we thank you for this conversation. We ask, God, that this conversation would be a blessing to somebody who may be watching. And I ask, God, that you would continually give us more ideas to have more conversations to help us as we try our best to live lives that are pleasing to you. Hear our prayers today. In Jesus' name, we love you, God, and amen. All right. Thank y'all for watching. Tune in. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please hit the subscribe button. If this conversation helped you, hit the like button. Share this with somebody who you want to have a conversation with, or to start a conversation in your own young adult Bible study. So thank y'all. We'll see y'all again on the third Sunday. Y'all be blessed.